The shadow in apartment 6B. The rain had been relentless all evening, turning the city streets into rivers of distorted neon reflections. Ethan pulled his coat tighter as he stepped out of the taxi, shielding himself against the cold drizzle. The towering apartment building loomed before him, its many windows glowing dimly in the misty night. He checked the address again on his phone. 6B, the sublet his friend had arranged. It was cheap, temporary, and close to work. That's all he needed. The lobby was nearly empty when he entered, save for the security guard slouched behind the desk, half asleep. Ethan approached, tapping his knuckles against the counter to get his attention. I'm moving into 6B. Do I need a key from you? The guard blinked, eyes bloodshot. There was a long pause before he answered. 6B. His voice had an odd hesitation. Someone just left that place a few days ago. Yeah, I know. My friend arranged it for me. The guard scratched his chin funny. Nobody usually stays in that unit for long. Ethan frowned. Why? The guard opened his mouth as if to speak, then shook his head. Nothing, just old building. You know, pipes make noise, doors creak. Don't let it get to you. Ethan took the key and headed for the elevator, feeling the guard's gaze on his back until the doors shut. The hallway on the 6th floor was eerily quiet. The air smelled of dust and something faintly metallic. Ethan unlocked the door to 6B and stepped inside. The apartment was small but functional. One bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a narrow living area. A single window overlooked the street below, raindrops streaking against the glass. Everything seemed normal until he saw the closet. It stood at the far end of the bedroom, slightly ajar, a dark sliver of space visible between the doors. Ethan hesitated. The previous tenant must have left it open. He stepped forward and, without thinking, pulled it shut. That's when it started. A sound, a soft, slow scraping noise. It was faint, barely perceptible, but definitely coming from inside the closet. Ethan froze, his pulse quickening. Probably a rat, he told himself, or just the old wood settling. He forced himself to ignore it, stripped off his damp coat, and collapsed onto the mattress. The exhaustion from the day's move weighed down on him. He just needed sleep. But just as he drifted off, he heard it again. The same scraping sound, long, deliberate, like something dragging against the wood from the inside. Ethan sat up, heart pounding. He reached for his phone and flicked on the flashlight, shining it at the closet door. The crack between the doors was wider now. Had it always been like that? He swallowed, swinging his legs off the bed. Every instinct screamed at him not to go closer, but he did. He gripped the handles, braced himself, and yanked the doors open. Nothing. The closet was empty. Just a rod for hanging clothes and an old, dust-covered shelf. But the air inside it was cold, far colder than the rest of the apartment. He let out a slow breath and shut the doors again, this time pressing them firmly closed. Then he turned around, and in the reflection of the window, he saw it, a figure, standing directly behind him. Ethan spun, his stomach twisting in sheer terror, but there was nothing there. He staggered back, nearly tripping over the bed. His breath came in short gasps as he scanned the room. The closet doors remained shut. The apartment was silent. He was alone, but something deep inside him whispered, "Not for long." That night, sleep was impossible. Every creak, every shifting shadow felt like something watching him. The rain outside became a rhythmic pulse against the window, matching the pounding of his heart. At some point, exhaustion won over fear, and his body finally shut down. When he woke up, the closet was open again. Ethan sat up so fast his head spun. The doors, he was sure he had closed them. A chill ran through him. He grabbed his phone and checked the time. 3:12 am. A message notification blinked on the screen. It was from an unknown number. Only 4 words. "Don't turn around, ever." His body went rigid. His hands tightened around the phone. Then he heard it, a breath, not his own, right behind him. Ice shot through his veins. He didn't move, didn't breathe. Then his phone screen flickered. For a fraction of a second, the front camera activated, and in the reflection a shadow loomed over his shoulder. Ethan lunged forward, scrambling out of bed. His fingers fumbled for the lamp switch, flooding the room with light. Nothing. The room was empty. His chest heaved. He grabbed his jacket, his shoes. He wasn't staying here another second. But just as he reached the door, his phone vibrated again. Another message. "Too late. You saw it." A slow horror crept through his bones. His fingers trembled as he turned the knob. Locked. His breath hitched. He hadn't locked it. He was sure he hadn't. Heart pounding. He yanked at the door, twisted the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Then, from behind him the closet creaked. The doors, ever so slowly, began to open. A sliver of darkness appeared between them, stretching wider. Something moved inside. A whisper slithered through the room. "You're staying now." Ethan didn't remember screaming, didn't remember falling, only darkness, and the feeling of cold fingers wrapping around his wrist. He woke up somewhere else. His body ached, his vision blurry. Dim light flickered overhead, a single, buzzing fluorescent bulb. He was inside a closet, his breath caught. He lunged forward, slamming his fists against the wooden doors. "Let me out," he screamed. "Help!" No response. Then, outside he heard breathing, low, heavy, coming closer. A shadow passed under the gap of the closet door. Ethan's pulse pounded. He pressed himself against the back wall, fists clenched. Then, the breathing stopped. Silence. Then his own voice whispered from the other side, "You're in 6B now." The doors burst open, but there was no one there, just a window, and in its reflection, the thing wearing his face.